So tomorrow, with all them videos on there, yeah, out of some of that you make a video, out of some of that other stuff we got. Alright guys, it's the end of the day. Instead of doing it before I took a shower, I took a shower, got nice and comfortable. And you know what, I was reflecting on the time when I was getting my nomad thing on and traveling, and we had a little Hyundai Accent, and we lived in that vehicle for a month or more, and we stayed with homeless people. And during that time, I grew my facial hair all out, and it was wild. And, I didn't really maintain my dreads, which they're not maintained right now. We gotta get some time and get some finances and get the stuff needed for my wife to do my dreads. But until then, oh well, they'll fly like they are. But to get our point, during those times when we were living in that Honda Accent, and we were all the way in Texas, which is about 14. We were in Austin, Texas.
Houston.
Oh yeah, Houston.
No. We were in Austin with the homeless.
We did some time in Houston and Austin. And we were in the ghetto, the slums of these places. And where we were at in Houston, Texas, every day that spot got shot up where we were at. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about the black street culture, black gang culture. I don't know if anybody knows it, but we were embedded with a street organization there, and I kept getting shot up. And then we went to some of the other places, and while we were out there, I was trying to see how I could bring peace to the black communities out there, different black communities out there, because it's such a big place. And of course, me being a young black man, I do have ties to street organizations. But so I was trying to do my part to help street organizations be able to find some peace. And they lived, some of them lived not too far apart, but other ones you had to make a little ride to get to where they were at. And they had they was trying to acting like they were about to shoot me. But being the man that I was, I didn't show any fear or any kind of like I wasn't supposed to be there, or that that wasn't the type of element that I grew up in. Let it be known that, hey, I'm from this environment just like you, just a different place. I'm from Alabama, but still, being impoverished is being impoverished no matter where you're from. But still, they had no understanding. And they didn't want any kind of peace or reconciliation. And it wasn't even over any fact that, oh, you harmed a family member of mine or something like that. It was just young men looking to harm other young men, reason being unknown. And just to think like that, the youth just think like that. They see another black person and just for no apparent reason want to do harm to them. I don't know if I should say which street organization I was embedded with when I was out there. I shouldn't. No, I shouldn't. But the street organization, I will say the street organization that I was embedded with while I was out there, an organization that I sympathize with, which was founded by. Okay, my wife says I shouldn't reveal that information either, but the organization I was embedded with has problems with the organization that I sympathize with, but I still embedded with them. It's all about you. It's all about how you carry yourself, and that'll determine where you can go, who you can stay with. You know, how do you travel to a completely different state and find people in communities that you can just fit right into, no matter where you're from. You know, it's all about how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, and how you conduct yourself. And so, yeah, I wasn't able to stop the violence, but I felt like at that time I was on a mission. So, and another place we embedded with some Mexicans. We embedded with some Mexican and some homeless Mexicans, and it was an all Mexican area, and the Mexican gangs ran the area, and we embedded with them, didn't we, baby? Mm-hmm. And went on our homeless. And what I learned from that was that a lot of times Mexican street young men and black street young men don't get along. But once again, it's about how you present yourself. And you know, the way that I presented myself, I was able to gain access into their world. And during that time, while me and my wife were staying with the Mexican gangs and living on the streets out there for about a month, there was a murder that happened not too far from where we were. Yeah, my wife said I shouldn't go into detail about the murder either. That happened not too far from where we were laying our head at, just steps away. But I will tell you this: if you have a good character and you can show that you're a person that has survived in poverty for many, many years, and the Mexican low income people deem you to say, hey, you're one of them, man, the doors that are open up for you with those guys will give you the shirt on their back, literally. Mm-hmm. Literally. I'm talking about those guys. Once there was one time I didn't want to cause any rifts with the Mexican gangs, and one of their guys got drunk and was trying to be confrontational with me. You know, and you know, at any time I could have hurt this man because he was intoxicated. But you know, I was out there surrounded by their gang members, and I just didn't want to knock this dude out, even though he was acting funny. Don't you know, one of their leaders went over to him and knocked him out so hard that we thought he had killed him. Mm-hmm. Seriously, because he was bothering me out there. And that's just to show you, like, if you're a good stand-up guy, you can survive from the bottom, and you can make it all the way to the top. Mm-hmm. Because we're working to make it to the top. And on top of that, you know, you never have to compromise who you are. Actually, in reality, if you present yourself as who you are in any circumstance, it doesn't matter if you're dealing with black gangs, or you're dealing with Confederates, or you're dealing with other Nazi organizations. I gotta tell you, I've never had a problem with the Confederate. I've never had a problem with the KKK. I've never had a problem with the neo-Nazis. Why? Because of the way I conduct myself. You know, with those guys, they look for people who aren't serious, people who talk. I don't know how to explain how they would talk or how they would carry themselves, but they look for a certain type of person. And if you fit that description of somebody that they feel like they can take advantage of, that's when all that stuff comes out. But see me, I'm a no nonsense type of guy. I'm not a you meet me, you know what I'm saying? I'm the coolest person in the world, but I don't play. You know, I'm about my business. And you know, anybody who spends a second around me, I don't really have too many friends, you know? I don't have any friends really. I don't. Why? Because I'm about my business and I don't deal with BS and stuff. I'm not with that. I'm a serious type of guy. I've always been, maybe in my life, you know, the things that I did were in my efforts were misguided. But anytime I did anything, it was always 100% I put into it. You know, if I start talking about the darker side of things that I've done in my life, my wife gonna throw up the hand signals in the back and say, "Don't do it," because man, if I could tell you my story, it's been crazy. When I tell you crazy, you never know anybody's life. So that's why I say don't go around underestimating people because you don't know who you're dealing with. You know, that's why I don't underestimate people. I just stay square with them and let the chips may fall where it fall. But you know, if you come the wrong way, make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready. That's because I'm always ready and prepared because I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm scared. I'm scared that somebody's gonna harm me. And since I'm scared that somebody's gonna harm me, before I let anybody harm me, I'm gonna harm you first. And when I say I'm gonna harm you, I'm gonna my wife is saying don't do it. But basically what I'm saying is, yeah, I'm scared. I'm not trying to lose any capacity or anything like that. And so, yeah, no off top, I perceive everything to be a threat. Everything is a threat to me. That's why my wife makes the phone calls and talk to people because everything, any little small thing is a threat. As a matter of fact, today when we went back to the other house, you know, it was a guy that, you know, I was always lighthearted with him, and he went over to a barbershop that I used to go visit, the guy who owns it, because he gave me good entrepreneurial advice, and I used to just go there and soak it up before I figured out what I wanted to do. But you know, he unlocked my mind to a lot of different things. He actually infused my mind to see what potential that I have. Well, while I was there, this guy, over about a year's time or so, you know, he got where we could be, wouldn't say lighthearted, but you know, I would be nice to him and I would speak to him. And just one day of me speaking with him, he comes out of nowhere and comes at me sideways. Now, he perceives me to be the person that he's seen over a year, you know, guy who standoffish, doesn't want any problems, you know what I'm saying, straight up with you. That's, at that moment, he took me for being that type of person to being, I don't know, maybe he thought that type of personality, showing signs of not wanting any confrontation with people, maybe he took that for a weakness. But the second that he did that, he wished he didn't do it. Because the second that I perceived that he was coming incorrect, got real nasty. And we seen him today, and he was all apologies, but I let it be known, look, we're not in the shop right now. He was like, oh, you need a Jesus forgives and all that with me. He's with all that with me, but I'm letting them know, you know, I forgive. Yeah, I forgive everybody. I don't got time to be. I ain't seen you since then. I ain't worried about you. But I never forget. That's the one thing. I never forget. And when I see you, when you go past that point with me one time, every time I see you, my threat alert is up. So there can never be any good relations between me and you after you cross that line one time. Because the first time, you can walk away unharmed. The second time, I gotta beat you stupid. My wife is throwing up the hand. Now I understand. You gotta excuse me. Sometimes I'm a war veteran. Sometimes My mind and my clock. I said in another video, and the video didn't get put out because we had a crappy camera. I said in another video, like, my mind just doesn't work right all the time. I'm a war vet. What do you expect? I've been to Iraq twice. My mind, I'm not glued on all the way tight. Now, when I'm out doing something and I'm working and stuff like that, and I can be focused on that task, we're good to go. We're good to go. But when you leave that and I'm just left to my thoughts, man, crazy things run through my head. And it's just something that you can't shake. You talk to any boy better, and it's just something that you can't shake. Everything is a threat all the time. And you end up not having any friends. But luckily my wife is a good companion. She's understanding. And she understands that I'm very cynical too. I have a very cynical sense of humor, and it's not really, I would say it would be compared to squeezing a lemon and just not skipping the juice and just busting it open and eating the lemon. That's how it is to be around me. But somehow, maybe because we're born in the same month, that my wife, it can we sort of have our line. But then too, sometimes not only do I do things to get on that quirk her and get up under her skin, she does the same to me. She does things that get up under my skin. She could be very, very like bubbly in the brain at points in time. I have to be honest with you. And another thing is, you can give her direction and guidance, and she will go the totally different opposite direction. I mean, if you ask her to complete a task, if you say, this is the task I need you to complete, what will happen is, as soon as you tell her the task that needs to be complete, she will tell you a story. Seriously. She will run down a story about something that happened in the past or something like that, and she'll completely forget what you asked her to do. Whatever you asked her to complete, after she tells you the story, and you go on about your way thinking that the mission is going to get accomplished, you come back, the mission is not complete, you go to her, you say, what the HE double hockey sticks? And she's like, oh, I thought you said this. I'm like, you said that when you told me the story. Like, I told you to do this. And then she says, you told her to do whatever she told you in her story. And it's just like the craziest thing ever. But you know what? It used to upset me. But after so long of it, like, I just bust out laughing. I just started laughing when she does it. When she does it, I laugh, and then she thinks something is completely wrong and strange and sick or something with me, because she's like, why are you laughing at me? Why are you laughing at me? And I'm just like, yes, you're entertaining. And here's the thing, right? We can't get this stuff on camera because we're in motion when this stuff happens. We're like a football team on the 5-yard line trying to score. We going all the way in, you know what I'm saying? So there's no time to pick up the camera and stop and get this stuff. So like, the best parts of like our interactions don't get caught on the camera. Here's another thing. The worst parts of our interaction, I'd be so concerned that during these rants that my wife would just hit record and then pick up this stuff, and then it would become public record of like some of the cynical things that I say to her. And I'll be like, oh man, are you recording? Because once I find out the recording has started, I'm like, I don't want to delete it because I want the videos to be truthful and honest. If there's a mess up in the video, so what? Sue me, Johnny Cochran. But rest in peace, Johnny Cochran. Today it was a hard day out there in the field. And I gotta tell you, right? So I gave my wife a task to do while we were out there. And I gotta tell you, just farming and getting the land ready is not her thing. She would spend 1 hour and 30 minutes wasting time. She's like the guy when I was in the military that we just called a shammer. She just will stand there and waste time. Her going to work outside is a break plus mosquitoes and heat. So she takes a break of constant moving in the house and gets time to just stand around and pretend to do something and just be
Really?
accessible to mosquitoes. Because she was out for, she said, 100, hour and 35 minutes or so. But with 5 minutes of me standing over her, she did more work than she did in the hour and 30 minutes, supposedly, that she was outside today. 5 minutes. She did an hour and 30 minutes worth of work within 5 minutes of me standing around giving her direction, motivation, and purpose. Yeah. And so I do feel like, and this might sound crazy, I feel like when it comes to work ethic and it comes to having a goal and wanting to get it accomplished, like I rely heavily on my military training. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because once I get focused on a task, it's like hard to get me to break away from that task mentally. I just keep going and keep going and keep going. And this is why I'm loving farming, because, you know, I'm a disabled veteran. You know, there's not a job that I really would feel comfortable doing. I tried to do a job before. I tried to do a lawn service, and it just goes bad with me. It goes bad with me. I don't have the proper understanding.
You gotta finish it off because it's gonna cut off. I don't know when. It's at 21.
Yeah, I just got it. So, it'll be all right. If the video cuts, so what? My wife is being, she's in the background, talking really low, like, it's gonna cut off soon.
Well, you know what? If he doesn't get to say it, I'm gonna go ahead and say it now because he might not get a chance to say it later on. Like and subscribe and find us on Facebook at Black Farmer 6.
That's the number 6. Black Farmers with the S and the number 6. And thank you, because I would have let the video go like an Energizer Bunny, and I wouldn't have said anything about where to find our Facebook at, or
yeah, you really usually don't.
And I wouldn't say, I probably would have said like and subscribe though. But what was I saying? Jeez, I forgot. My golly. By golly, George. Yeah.
Let's see, you were talking about something about your military training.
Oh yeah, how I rely on that heavily when I get on a task. So, you know, the last time I tried to do a job was last year. Mm-hmm. And misunderstanding. I gotta tell you, I got a tipping point in my mind when I feel like I'm being wronged, or I feel like I'm not being treated, you know, in a capacity I feel like I deserve to be. There is not an understanding period or a mental barrier there that says, hey, you know, I don't know, whatever somebody else is not programmed to think or whatever, but, you know, the way I choose to handle things, I mean, it puts me in a situation where I could be arrested or anything, and I'm just not with that. So, you know, I have to find something to do with my time. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I have to find something. Bless you.
Thank you.
I
think no.
You got any more?
I think it's done.
Okay.
I think I can't tell you when it's gonna come.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So, me. What was I saying? Thank you. Now, look at that.
Oh, you were talking about how you were at the tipping point and it could have got you thrown in jail, or from the way that you got treated at your job.
So, me, you know, I have to find something to do with my time, so I'm not placing myself in those type of situations. It's been times where, I've gone, not just off grid, but I've completely uh, disappeared. It's been times that just to do it, I've snuck into different country borders. True facts. I have. I shouldn't say that. Okay, so yeah, don't. My wife said I shouldn't say it, but I've said it. So just letting you know. Military experience when you don't have when you don't have anything to keep you grounded, rooted, active. You can go all the way to the left. You can, and I'm the perfect example of that. But over time, as I found a partner that can keep me in tune and keep me here mentally, I found a way to come back and find my way, kind of. I say some things just that are just there in concrete, but other things can be worked on. But you have to have somebody there to work on those things with you, sort of like having therapy, you know, and also having people you can reach out to if you can't contact any facility. Oh, she's throwing up hands.